Hi friends, Darth Momo here, and we are now on 9 days till The Last Jedi. So I am here, of course, to continue my reviews, and we shall discuss today Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. So, about that. Remember how yesterday when I said I wasn't really a big critic of the prequels? That kind of changed when I watched this film. I mean, Phantom Menace, it's not the best film, but I could sit down and still, for the most part, enjoy it. Revenge of the Sith, definitely not too good of a film. I could sit down and love the heck out of the majority of that thing. I can't really do that with Attack of the Clones. I'm sorry, George. I tried to support you as much as I can, but this is just the one time I really, truly can't. The writing was semi-atrocious. I mean, the Phantom Menace wasn't necessarily the best, but I thought for the most part the writing was okay. The acting, and when I say writing, I mean more so dialogue. There are some plot points, but we'll get to that later. The acting. I mean, the chemistry between Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen was kind of terrible. The chemistry between Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen in this film was not present. Hayden Christensen, I'm sorry to say, but you really disappointed me with this film. I'm all for bringing you back in The Last Jedi, and I'm hoping that that happens, but in this film you just didn't make the cut. And this is something where I do partially blame Hayden and I partially blame George. Now, you may be like, well, what the heck, Darth Molo? The other day you were completely blaming George for Jake Lloyd. Well, here's the thing. Hayden Christensen is a grown adult. He's an actor. He's been trained. And, you know, so George Lucas, we've talked about this before. He was a hands-off director. He didn't really guide his actors. So that's why I partially blame George. But also, if you look at actors like Ian McDiarmid, Ewan McGregor, you know, they pulled out brilliant performances. And Hayden Christensen could have at least done that. Now, he wasn't given the best material to work with, but he could have at least tried to make it somewhat believable. In this film, there is no energy to Anakin Skywalker. Everything feels forced. I can't, and as an actor personally, or at least a high school actor, I cringe when I see some of these scenes. I do. I utterly cringe. Now, plot points. So the beginning, let's start with the first act. That all I thought flew relatively well. One major thing though I didn't like about the first act, when Obi-Wan jumped out at the blinds to grab the droid and chase him, I think doing that was something right if Anakin would have been the one to do that. That would have been something that definitely fit his character. Obi-Wan doing it, not so much. The second act, really with, well, we'll get to that later. The second act, Anakin and Padme on Naboo and Tatooine, as well as Obi-Wan uncovering the whole clone thing. Anakin and Padme, terrible, terrible, terrible. The dialogue, the chemistry, the whole premise and circumstances, it felt like a child's playdate. I honestly think that their love would have felt better. It feels forced, but it would have been better if maybe George Lucas had had them on the run from bounty hunters. I'm kind of stealing that idea from Hello Greedo, but when I heard him say that in his review a couple years ago, I thought it worked. And if you look at Han and Leia, their love, it was kind of forced, but it worked because it was kind of under circumstances. It wasn't the sole plot. And if that had been the case, we wouldn't have had to deal with atrocious scenes and dialogue like this.
Now that I'm with you again, I'm in agony. The thought of not being with you, I can't breathe. I'm haunted by the kiss that you should never have given me. You are in my very soul, tormenting me.
I literally said to myself, and I was the only one in the house at that time, I said to myself, am I really watching Star Wars? That did not feel like it. Their whole dialogue and interactions, their scenes, for the most part, did not feel like Star Wars. Now let's get to the other part of Act 2. Obi-Wan uncovering the whole clone plot. That had the possibility. I mean, I know prequels, we all already know what happens, but the Clone Wars still was able to make some very suspenseful scenes and episodes. And I think this could have been a really cool kind of plot, like what the heck is going on? The only problem is it was executed terribly. Terribly. There's so many scenes in this film that feel awkward to watch. Jango meeting Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan and Anakin re-meeting Padme. It just felt kind of like the information was kind of just, oh, here you go. It wasn't like, whoa, we had this going on. Wait, what? But what the heck happened here? This is what we've been set to know as an audience. Oh, well, see, someone did something behind the curtain and orchestrated all this. Whoa, this is actually kind of interesting. No, it wasn't treated like that. And I wish it would have, because it could have possibly saved half of this film and made it at least somewhat decent. Then we get to the third act, Battle of Geonosis. Okay. I mean, the arena scene, not really a big fan of it before, but I thought it worked. Anakin and Padme, when they declare their love, that is actually one of the few scenes I think was handled well between them. Of course, the acting and chemistry wasn't necessarily present, but I thought the dialogue there and the delivery, at least from Natalie Portman and somewhat from Hayden, was alright. And I thought it worked. Somewhat. The arena scene, I thought it was okay. It felt kind of like Star Wars. I thought, like some of the humor and banter. Earlier in the movie, when they're on the high-speed chase, the banter there kind of felt forced. Like, I saw they were trying to resurrect it, but it didn't feel right. Here, it kind of felt okay. What else do we have? Oh yeah, the Battle of Geonosis. I thought it was okay. Definitely thought they should have left out the whole C-3PO thing. That's really, I thought, otherwise it ties everything up. Okay. One thing well, before I get to that. The whole Anakin with his mother stuff, I thought it was alright. And the scene where he breaks down the Padme, the only issue I have with that scene is actually the acting on Hayden Christensen's part. I thought the dialogue there was actually really good. Well, not really good, but I thought it was good, and I thought Natalie Portman's delivery was good. But here's the thing with Attack of the Clones. The movie is so unevenly paced. The trailer is unevenly paced. Revenge of the Sith, I'll get to that later. It's kind of unevenly paced, but I'll explain that later. Phantom Menace, I think, is actually fairly evenly paced. Attack of the Clones is so unevenly paced. It drags out immensely. And the CGI, this is where I think literally all practical effects were thrown out. The Phantom Menace, you can desperately see an effort to maintain practical effects while kind of blend it with CGI. Attack of the Clones threw that all out the window. R2 with his jet boosters. All the droid CGI, everything, the arena scene, fighters, oh. And then we get to this. Just so you know, I didn't actually swear there, but I definitely wanted to. Oh, it's... Yoda is the kind of guy who's supposed to be the mentor. Now, I understand that it makes sense that he's got a lightsaber, and at certain times, I think it works. I'm on mixed... Okay, with this fight in Episode 3, that's where I'm at the mixed feelings, but this definitely did not work. I mean, it kind of does, but at the same time, it doesn't feel right. Yoda... Boy! And the lightsaber fight, Anakin and Obi-Wan and Dooku, this is where lightsaber fights, I think, ultimately got ruined. Initially ruined. It didn't feel grounded. It felt just like a bunch of acrobatics. Lightsaber fights are supposed to be kind of the forefront of, or kind of a back burner as we see the emotion come out, the true conflict. And for episode 4, old allies finally meeting again. Episode 5, Luke takes on Darth Vader and he's struggling there. Episode 6, we'll definitely talk about that later because I have so much to say there. Episode 1, I mean, it wasn't like there was a whole lot of emotion there, but it was still, Maul had to take down the Jedi. It was time to reveal themselves. Obi-Wan's unsure of himself. Qui-Gon, they haven't seen the Sith. They're, like, great. This just felt like, okay, hey, let's fight. And then the movie just wraps up. This, including the Clone Wars film, on my ranking, I have to place Attack of the Clones at the very bottom, number 9. And after Last Jedi, it will be number 10. I don't place it at the very bottom because every other film is just better than it. I place it at the bottom because it's worse than every other film. The special effects, half the plot points, the writing, the acting, so much of it, it is, I'm sorry George Lucas, but it is a bad film. On that note, may the Force be with you. Darth Momo, out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, comment down below and hit that like button. Oh, and check out some of my other videos. I'm sure you'll find them delight.